So today, we're going to map out what is, without a doubt, one of the most challenging journeys in all of sports, recovering from an ACL tear. We're going to cut through all the confusion and just break down the entire 9-month-plus process into a really clear, phase-by-phase guide. Let's dive right in.
So what is this road back really like? Well, it isn't just about waiting for something to heal. Oh no, it is a full-on biological marathon. You're rebuilding muscle, you're rewiring your brain, and you're reloading the entire system. And we're going to walk you through every single step, from that first little muscle twitch all the way to exploding back onto the field.
And here it is, the whole marathon, laid out on one map. You can see we start with what we call the reset. Then we enter this really critical period called the danger zone. And trust me, you're going to want to know why it's called that. After that, it's all about building an athlete, forging some serious power, and finally, making that return.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning. The first couple of weeks, they aren't about getting strong. They're about pure survival. The goals are brutally simple. Get the pain and swelling under control, and, this is the big one, somehow convince your own muscles to switch back on.
See, the biggest problem you're fighting right now isn't actually in your knee, it's in your brain. There's this wild phenomenon called arthrogenic muscle inhibition, or AMI. Basically, after the injury, your brain slams on an emergency brake and just shuts down your quad muscle to protect the area. It's a smart survival instinct, but for your recovery, it becomes enemy number one.
So how do you fight your own brain? Not with heavy weights, that's for sure. You fight it with relentless, mind-numbing frequency. Just look at this schedule. 10 sets of 10 quad sets, 3 times a day. You're literally just trying to spark that connection between your mind and your muscle again. And those ankle pumps every single hour, that's not for strength. That's to prevent a potentially life-threatening blood clot. It's a grind for sure, but it is absolutely non-negotiable.
And all of that tedious work is pushing towards one single critical goal: this. You have to be able to lock your knee perfectly straight. We're talking 0-degree extension. This isn't just a suggestion, it is the key that unlocks the door to the next phase. If you can't get your knee completely straight, you can't walk normally, and your progress just hits a brick wall. Okay, so once you've hit that milestone, you get to move on. We're now entering a new chapter, from week 6 to 12. And the focus totally shifts from just waking the muscle up to actually building it. You can think of this as the bodybuilding phase of your recovery. But, and this is a big but, it comes with a very serious warning. Now, the exercises are starting to look a lot more like what you'd see in a normal gym program, right? We've got goblet squats, leg presses, deadlifts. The goal here is pure hypertrophy. We're trying to add size. That new muscle is going to act like a natural protective armor for your healing knee.
But here's the crazy part. This is the paradox, and it might be the single most important thing you hear today. While you're on the outside, building muscle, feeling stronger every day, on the inside, your new ACL graft is going through this biological remodeling process where it is at its absolute weakest. This is the danger zone. You feel great, but that new ligament is incredibly fragile. One wrong move, one awkward step, and you could be right back at square one.
Now, if you can navigate that danger zone with care, you earn the right to start thinking like an athlete again. This happens around month 3, and it's a huge shift. Your whole mindset has to change from being a patient in rehab to being a performer in training.
And you can really see that shift reflected in the training. The goal isn't just muscle size anymore, it's about maximum strength. So we swap out the light kettlebells for heavy barbells. What used to be rehab exercises now becomes a real strength and conditioning program. And, for the very first time, we start to carefully introduce impact.
Getting back to running, I mean, what a massive psychological win that is. But you have to do it so carefully. The progression is slow and super deliberate. You literally start with just 1 minute of jogging, then you walk. You have to earn the right to run for longer, making sure the knee can handle that new load without any pain or swelling. Meanwhile, in the gym, the intensity just goes through the roof. We're now doing sets of 5 on squats, lifting at 75 to 80% of your 1-rep max. We're adding in brutally tough exercises like Nordic hamstring curls. They're incredibly hard, but they're one of the best ways to bulletproof your hamstrings to protect that new ACL. This is where you build the real deal strength you need for sports. All right, with that solid foundation of muscle and raw strength in the bank, we can finally shift our focus back to the field. This is where we take all that gym strength and learn how to use it. It's about turning strength into dynamic, sport-specific power. The goal now? Build an injury-proof knee. And here's the key insight for this whole phase. Most ACL tears don't happen when you're accelerating or sprinting. They happen when you slam on the brakes,
when you're trying to decelerate, land from a jump, or make a sharp cut. So this entire part of the recovery is all about one thing: training your brakes, learning how to absorb force safely and efficiently.
And this is how you do it: plyometrics and agility drills. But pay attention to the cues. For box jumps, it's land soft like a cat. For depth drops, land perfectly still. See, it's not just about jumping high or being fast. It's all about having perfect control when you land. Then, drills like T-drills and figure eights carefully bring back those cutting and twisting forces that your knee's going to see in a real game.
So, after all this work, months and months of it, how do you know you're actually ready to play? Well, it is not a feeling or a guess. It's a test. It's your exit exam. And the first part is pure data. The strength of the quad on your surgical leg has to be more than 90% of the strength of your healthy leg. Period.
And that's not all. The second part of the test is performance. You'll do a whole battery of single-leg hop tests measuring distance and control. And again, that surgical leg has to perform at over 90% of what your uninjured side can do. If you can't hit these numbers, you're not ready. The risk of tearing it again is just too high.
But let's say you pass all the physical tests with flying colors. There is still one last hurdle. And honestly, it might be the biggest one of all. It's the mental game. Can you go out there and make a hard cut without even thinking about it? Can you jump up for a ball without a moment of hesitation? Do you, deep down, actually trust your knee? Because without that confidence, all the physical readiness in the world doesn't really matter. And that gets us to the finish line. You're back in the game. It's an amazing feeling. But it brings up one last, really important question. Just because you're playing again, does that mean the work is done? The answer is a clear no. To keep that knee healthy for the long run and prevent re-injury, a maintenance strength program isn't just a good idea, it becomes a non-negotiable part of your life as an athlete.